Pros, happy Thursday. Welcome to Pro Power Hour. If you are new here, you're joining us on Zoom or you're joining us on Facebook. Glad you found this. This is a product training webinar that we do just about every Thursday at this time. We've got a whole help article with past sessions and recordings. So if you need help with invoicing, you need help with setting up your online booking, maybe you're interested in voice. We've covered almost every part of the platform. So you can go back and you can find those. And then every week we are, re-recording things as features and updates happen to the platform. And we get your feedback on, what you need help with, what you could use some help learning. So if there's something you want us to do during one of these sessions, let us know. We did something special last week. We had one of our security guy on with us to talk just a little bit about how to prevent yourself from being a victim of scams, particularly with your House Call Pro account. So we do something a little bit different every week. And if you're joining on Facebook, I can send you the help article and the Zoom if you want to sign up and get reminders and be here. But Phil is back with us. He's one of our onboarding specialists, and we're going to talk a little bit about updates this week. There's not a lot that we can show or share right now, so I think we're going to segue a little bit. We're going to talk about sub customers, and property profile. So, equipment that you might have out in the field that you want to add to certain customer accounts. But Phil, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Yep. Hello, everybody again. Welcome, welcome. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Chris was saying before we really dive into our deck, if this is your first time with us, first off, welcome. And if it's your second, third, or you're a recurring person, we're glad to have you back. If you are new, as Chris mentioned, and as he said, he's going to post the library of all the recordings that we've done in the past. I have lately been getting a lot of feedback from not only a lot of the new hires that have come over from into onboarding, but also when we are starting to get a lot of new accounts, a lot of people have been handing out the Power Hour recordings. So honestly, if you haven't gotten a chance or you're new to the system, get into the library because these sessions have been getting excellent feedback that we are covering the system and in a light and a digestible way for you to understand it and use it to your ability. So just kind of wanted to get that out. But yeah, to Chris's point, we're going to go over property profile and some customers. Property profile is kind of an item that not too many people know that they have. It used to be kind of like one of our big features and kind of honestly one of our only features, but it's now as bigger and more advanced features have come into play. It's kind of been a little bit forgotten about. So always like to show everybody a little bit about the property profile and its benefits, and then also talking about sub customers. That's a big one, especially for me in my seat when people are first getting into onboarding and they're trying to migrate all of their data over. There's a lot of people that have parent-child relationships, and there's a lot of people that have parent-child and grandchild relationships. So I hope today that we can kind of clarify some of the questions that are there and show you how to go ahead and set some of these up if you are new to the system. As usual, we're going to play a little bit of a slide deck and just kind of go through bits of information explaining, what these products are and the benefits of them. And then as we finish the slide deck, I'll go ahead and pull up my account. We'll go through a little demo and I'll show you how to utilize these two particular features. So getting into it, here's our deck. And so people usually ask me when they first hear about the property profile, what is the property profile item? I always tell everybody that it is a little feature that allows you to keep track of any on-site equipment. If it's something that you installed, or maybe it's something that was there before you got out there, and now this is just a on-site equipment that you maintain. It is a great place for you to keep track of the make, model, serial number, keep a running log of notes of any time you've gone to work out on this piece of equipment. So that way, as we go out onto future jobs, we can say that this is the piece of equipment that we're working on, and we can start to view all that information regarding that piece of equipment on every single job. So it's a little bit easier than, well, I would say it's an alternative to going ahead and just like snapping pictures of all this information, because a lot of people, when they come to me, that's generally how they do it in the past, is they take pictures of this and just kind of store it somewhere. I mean, technically you can do that in House Call too with the attachments on the uh, customer profile. But if we want to actually have some verbiage and some actual notes written out, property profile is what you're going to be wanting to use. So just kind of showing over here where you can find it on the mobile. So once it is activated, as I said, it's kind of one of those features that's kind of fallen back in the forefront of all of our features. So for some people, you may just need to turn it on, and it's one of ours. It's completely free. And again, I'll show you where to turn this on in the App Store. But when we are looking at the mobile app, as we can see with this picture here, is when we get all the way to the bottom of a job or an estimate in the mobile app, you will see the property profile option. And when we open it, it gives us the same fields that we would see when we're on the computer: make, model, serial number, any notes. So in the customer profile, that's another place where we can view the property profiles. So we can always continue to add um, on as many property profile items to each customer profile. Sorry, there's a lot of profiles going back and forth here, but yeah. So with the property profiles, you can have as many items as you need on one customer profile. They tend to stick directly with the addresses, so that way we know if we're going out to this address that there's going to be, these two pieces of equipment. If we go out to this address, there's going to be this one piece of equipment. So again, just kind of showing the functionality of it here, but we will see it as we go through it in my demo account. There's also the ability to view, sort, and filter our property profile items. This has been something that people have been asking for a long, long time. We did finally release this, I want to say a little less than a year ago, maybe about a year at this point. But now we can just pull a report of all of our property profile items and be able to look at all of them, look at them in certain locations, basically have a property profile report. With that report, as I mentioned, there is a place so that we can export it. I haven't heard too many of my pros personally that are looking to export this report, but I have heard that this feedback has come up from other people on my team. So, same thing with any other report that we have available. You do have the ability to export it, so you can get it in a spreadsheet format, be able to send that to anybody you like, or print it for any of your needs. So, as we kind of covered all the bases there, that's on the property profile. And again, we will see this all in real time in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and sidestep over to our parent and child relationships, aka sub customers in our system. So over here, we call it the parent-child relationship. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are people that have parent, child, and grandchildren. I'm going to clear the air right here. If you are new to the system or just need a reminder on this, we do not do three-tiered customers. We only do parent-child over here. So I will explain a couple of the workarounds I have found for some of if you are a three-tiered business. But when it comes to the actual functionality of what it's designed for in-house call pro is that we just have parent-child. And if people aren't understanding what we mean by parent-child, I always use the scenario of mine. I rent my apartment here, so I'm the tenant. I'm going to be the child in this scenario. Whereas my landlord or property manager, that is going to be the parent customer because they are the property manager, they own the building. So a lot of pros I've talked to have these particular accounts. I'm sure just about everybody does, where there's some kind of property manager, some kind of management company. Those are our parents, while our homeowners and tenants are typically our children. So let's go ahead and just kind of start going through this, what this looks like in real scenarios. So as I have my account pulled up here, um, I'm thinking it might be best that we start with customers. So let's start there. So the first thing that I usually talk about when we're talking about sub customers, and I'm talking about with my new accounts, is if we go to put in a new customer, regardless of whether that is through the customer option or through the intake form, because we have pretty much the exact same fields here on the intake form, is right here, there's this option for customer bills too. And so again, I always tell my pros it's for the scenarios like mine where you have the property manager and I'm the tenant. So that is really one way, the most common way people use it in our system. So if I'm putting in a new customer, let's say I'm going to go ahead and put in my wife. So Katie Spangola, and she's here at my address with me. And if we go to customer bills too, since she is a tenant as well, we're going to go ahead and put in our landlord. So as I type out my landlord's name, my landlord is already in the system so that we can go ahead and just click on it, and that's going to link our two accounts. So that way now, my wife and or myself in my wife in this scenario, she's going to be the customer in this particular scenario. So she's going to get all the notifications. The job's been scheduled, job is on the way, or I'm sorry, technician is on the way, job is finished. But my management company over here, they're going to go ahead and get the bill. So we'll go ahead and look at this a little further, but I just want to also show is the other way I explain to my pros on how to do this is if you don't want to do it this way and have the parent-child relationship set up like it's intended to here, is the other way I've seen people do this in our system is that they simply don't put me into the system. They don't put my wife in. They don't put in any of the tenants. So what they'll do is if we're going to go ahead and pull up or we'll just stay here. So if my wife here was a new property management customer, they would go ahead and put in my address with all of the addresses that my property manager has, so that way my landlord, he's going to get all of the notifications, the on my way job is scheduled, job's completed, and he's going to get the bill. So I've talked to people that like to talk to the tenants and the homeowners. So that's the first way of making sure that we're doing the parent-child relationship with the customer bills to section. And I've talked to other people that just like to deal specifically with the management company, the building owner, the landlord. So for that, they would just add those addresses to the list of addresses that that homeowner or management company has. So that's what it looks like when we're going ahead and putting them into the system. Now, how it looks when they're already in the system. So if I'm going to pull up my management company, and we're looking at the management company's customer profile, we can see down below that here's all the addresses that are attached with this particular customer. Now, I put these all in using that second option that I was talking about, where we're just adding, we want all the communications and the bills to go to the property manager. So we're just going to keep adding addresses to this particular um, customer property manager. But notice over here on the left-hand side where it says billing. So here's where all of those sub-customers, those children that are attached to this management company. So that way I have the ability of taking a look at everything that's within this property manager's name. But if I want to single it down to specifically Mezzi here, I can click on Mezzi, and this is where I can see all the information that is regarding Mezzi and all of her properties or wherever she's living. And again, all of the billing on these particular projects are going to go directly to Stella's Properties, the management company. We can also see that right here as we're looking at this child's customer profile. There's the link right there that's telling us that it is linked and bills to Stella's Properties. When we go on to a job for a particular customer, with the sub customers, as we can see right there, it's telling us there's our customer, there's our tenant, there's all of our tenants' information here, but it does tell us right there that customer bills to Stella's Properties. So that is again showing the connection of the sub customer with the parent. And obviously, just quickly showing an example is if then we go ahead and we're ready to send off an invoice. Notice it's now showing the service address, so that's where we had to go to the child's location to go ahead and fill this out. But we're going to go ahead and bill to Stella's Properties. So it's pretty straightforward. It's really just kind of going down the one of the two paths of whether you want everything to just be in the property manager slash landlord's name, or if we want to set up the parent-child relationship as I showed how we would do it when we are putting in a new customer. So, really quickly, just want to check the chat and see if there were any questions regarding sub customers and setting up sub customers. If not, then we can certainly hop into property profile items. We have next. Okay, Marla, question, go for it.
Marla, I'm going to give you a mic permission if you want to ask your question live.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. And it's Rob. Marla's my admin. Sorry about that.
All good.
We just went through this because I'm a person who runs three separate companies. All three can't share client information. So we did the parent child to separate out our three companies so they're each individually owned. Or it isn't cross information where we're sorting all day long. We have three companies. But what you just showed us was, and one thing that we went through in our training, if you can just confirm, is on that one when you have the parent company where we still communicate with a client, but all the bill tos may go to a somebody who subcontracted us out for the job. And then there was a different way of setting it up where we have all the client information, but it was set up underneath, let's just call them creative designs, where the customer's like, I don't want to hear from this person, you handle it all. And everything was built up underneath that landlord type thing where we knew the client, but all text, emails, invoices, everything else went somewhere else because they didn't want to be bothered with it. Are we talking about the same thing here in regards to what you guys are showing us or showed us how you set up?
It kind of sounds like it. So let me put the pieces together to make sure I follow. So you were saying you have like the one company that does not want to get any of the notifications, but they're the ones that get the billing, correct?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we have a customer, Creative Designs, that we do work with. Sometimes we want to know that the job came through them. They get billed for it, but they still want us to communicate with their customer about arrival times, jobs being done, everything. Then they
Okay.
have a few customers that are like, I deal with you, Creative Designs. I don't want to hear from this other company. And we set that up a
Okay.
little bit different, I think, just under Creative Designs as a customer, where we know where we're going, but we don't communicate with them whatsoever.
Yep. So yeah, you nailed it exactly what we're explaining here. So the one that when Creative Designs doesn't want to hear anything, that's when we create the child. So those
Correct.
customers, so that the billing just goes to Creative Designs. And then for the other scenario, as you said, where the customer or basically the tenant says,
Right.
we don't want to hear about it, we just want Creative to deal with it, that's where we would add that address under Creative.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, that's we got a little confused there for a little while, and we're like, hold on, which way? But there's one that the initial way I think you showed setting up where that person's still getting all the communication, they just don't get the invoices.
Right.
The other way we set it up, literally, it's like the end customer doesn't even know we're alive, and everything goes through the main company. Yep. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and I see Tracy. Will both options give the same invoice? That is correct. It's really the only difference is where it's billed to. All right. Um, I'm going to go ahead and move on to property profile, but if you all still have questions regarding parent-child, throw them in the chat. We're certainly going to take a look at more questions once we get through property profile. So with property profile, as I mentioned, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of fallen in the background of house calls. So if you do not have the property profile feature on your account, it's really easy to add it to your account. All you simply need to do is go on up to the square with the 9 dots where the apps are and go into the App Store. You can search for it if you want to search for it. Again, it's just called property profile, but I'm just gonna, just for sake of showing everyone how, we're gonna go to all apps and we will go to property profile. And as you can see, all it takes is just simply turning it on or turning it off. It is available on Max and Essentials plans. It is not available on the basic. But as I mentioned, what that's going to do is now on our jobs and estimates, we will now have the property profile section. So let me go ahead and pull up a job here. And as we scroll down, here on the computer, it's going to be here on the left-hand side. Now, as I showed you in the picture for the mobile app, it's just all the way at the bottom of the job. And it looks exactly like it does right here. So when we click on it, we can see there that it's asking us for us to put in the item. So we can put in any item that we want. One thing I have heard in terms of feedback is, I think actually, let's just double check if it's been fixed. Okay, so that's what I thought. So you do it. One of the pieces of feedback we've gotten is being able to type something out in this particular area. Notice it wasn't letting me go to save, and as I typed out test, it's forcing me to pick this other. So just want to make that very clear for property profile items. There is a drop-down menu here that you select from. If there is something that you do not see on the list, but you want to add it, as you saw, what we would want to do is we would just want to go to the other option. But there's plenty of things in here, like a lot of common installations there are. So I'm just going to say a furnace. We can go ahead and put in our display name. So I don't know. I'm just going to put in a generic make, generic make, model, maybe XP1234, and our serial number. Our install date, we'll go ahead and say is today, and just installed today. All right. So now, as you can see, there's our item right there. And now we know that when we went out on this job, we worked on this particular piece of equipment. We'll come back to that in just a minute. I wanted to also show is that even though we have that one piece of equipment, you can continue to add as many pieces of equipment as you need. As I mentioned, if a site has more than one pieces of equipment, we can keep track of those. Now, on a job, if we go ahead and click on the particular property profile item, that's going to give us this information. So we can see basically the high view of everything that is part of this piece of equipment. We can also look at the associated work. So I can even have a link right there that will take me directly to the job that we maintain this piece of equipment. There is also, if this equipment is ever on any service plans, we can see which service plans that this equipment is a part of. And then lastly, any attachments that we've taken. So if we take pictures of them, as I mentioned earlier, if you're kind of old school, like to take pictures of the make, model, and serial number, we can always attach those to our property profile items so we can keep this all essentially in a folder. But now if we go, as he has some, so let's take a look. If not, I got a couple other customers we can try. Okay, so here's an example. So here is we have a job here for Mezzi, and Mez has a couple of different has one property profile item at this place. Because it's already on there, because it's already like attached to her, we're going to go ahead and say that we want that this is the item that we're working on for this particular job. So for us to do that is we're going to go ahead, see there's the little plus button right there. We just hit add to job. So now that's going to show us when I just showed you the records on the customer profile that we're going to see, or I'm sorry, on the property profile. When we're looking at the notes on the property profile item, now it's going to be added to that section where it says which jobs that this piece of equipment is being maintained. So that way, again, we can then keep track of all the times that we've gone out there to work on it. So that's really using the property profile item in terms of jobs and estimates. And I showed you how it looks on the property profile, or I'm sorry, on the customer profile. To show you where to get to that property profile report that we saw in our slide deck. For that is going to be up here in the apps. And there's actually going to be an option for property profile right there. So when we click on it, we can see here, this is basically pulling the report of all of our property profile items. As I mentioned, there is a way so that we can go ahead and download this report. So if we need to export it, and we have the filters. So we can filter by specific items or by specific dates. So that we can go ahead and pull those property reports. But outside of that, that's really kind of the use of the property profile too. So I'd like to open the floor to any questions regarding property profile.
Give you all a moment to submit any questions that you have. I see your note here too, Rob. Talk with you in just a sec. We did get a question from Lindsay, and it's a good question. And I wish there was an easy answer to it. She asked, can you move equipment to different property profiles? She gave an example that they do new construction homes and they enter the equipment under the general contractor as a customer. And then once there's a new homeowner, they can't, she's asking if it can be moved to that person's customer profile.
So it's one piece of equipment that's on one customer's profile, and we just want to transfer it over to another customer.
Yes.
I personally haven't tested that. My immediate response is that it would have to be added manually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I haven't tested that. I've got some time tomorrow, so maybe I'll test it and see it because I'm curious if maybe like. Well, no, because it's attached to the address. So if the customer is at the same address, no, that would still be a new customer. Yeah, it has to be added manually.
Has to be added manually. That's what I thought too. That's good feedback though. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I see a couple others here that popped up in the chat. I see that you're having issues with, I guess, sending estimates through your email. For that, probably want to take a look at setting up a support call with us so we can take a further look. Because I mean, ideally, the system is designed that it should shoot out an email. So it's just that sounds like that there's something maybe not working correctly. It could be a bug, but I'd have to see it in order to have a better to give better advice. Jarrell at ChemDrive, we are looking at maybe using this for items in the home and measurements, for example, a rug. Yeah. Yeah, you could potentially use it for that.
Absolutely. Any other questions? No. All right. Well, we've got couple extra minutes. I did want to mention, if you missed it today, we had a release moment webinar where we showcased kind of everything that's new or that's coming very soon. A lot of you have noticed maybe you have an option now with Klarna for your customers to pay their invoices. Seems to be the most common feature I've been seeing questions about. So If anybody has any questions about that right now, I can answer that. But encourage you to go and you can watch that recording. We also talked about CSR AI on your website, how to add that to the chat bubble on your website. We've got a new invoice feature where you're going to be able to speak. It's like an AI feature where you're going to be able to speak and it'll fill out the invoice for you, similar to Write It For Me. And we talked about a couple of other little things. So if anybody wants the link to that or the recording, let me know. I can get that to you. We've got a lot of new stuff we're working on. We have a whole platform refresh that's going to be happening. So there's a lot happening this year, and we'll do our best to try and start showcasing some of those new things in some of the future power hours. I've got a note here from Dustin. It says he needs to get in touch with you, Phil. Dustin Cole.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you did onboarding with Phil, Dustin, but if you're on a max plan, of course, you can book a coaching call in your Blue Chat bubble.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you guys working together?
Yeah, that was I think we did. Sounds familiar. Yeah, we did onboarding way back in the day. All right, Dustin, I'll reach out to you.
Awesome. Cool. And then I did also want to flag, you might have seen it if you're in our Facebook group. We've got a next door workshop that the coaching team is doing, actually at the top of the hour in about 20 minutes. If you signed up for that, or you want a last minute sign up for that, you still can. But if you signed up for it and you didn't get an invite, you didn't get a link to join, either hit me up on Facebook or let me know right now so I can get you the link to join that in about 20 minutes. Just want to flag that as well. All right. You haven't registered previously. Okay, what's a good email for you guys? Let me see if I have either of your registrations. All right, I'm capturing all those. I'll let folks know that you guys want to attend, and we'll send something your way to your emails. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, then hopefully I will see some of you at office hours tomorrow. It's every Friday at 11 Pacific. It's an open hour, so you can come talk to other pros, ask questions, or get some House Call Pro help as well. And then we'll be posting the upcoming topics in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out on the help article that I said I would drop. We do that right now as well. That's got our recording library. And like I said, we'll post the topics coming up next month. We will be doing a session on handbooks in 2 weeks. So if you have an employee handbook that needs updating or you want some help with that, we've got some of our partners from Mineral that are going to join and kind of do a presentation on that. So if you want some help, come in 2 weeks, second week of March. Vanessa, I got you as well. I'll get your email right now. Yep, Ariel, you're already registered here, so you'll be good for that training in a couple of weeks. That'll be during Power Hour. All right. Okay. Phil, appreciate it as always. And we'll see everybody next week.
All right, sounds good. Later, y'all.
All right. See ya.